Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving headfirst into an absolute marvel of history, Mimar Sinan's ultimate architectural triumph, the Selimiye Mosque. Now, what makes this place so incredibly special is that Sinan, who was this legendary Ottoman architect, built this absolute crown jewel when he was 80 years old. I mean, he literally referred to it as his masterpiece. And as we unpack this marvel today, you're going to see exactly why. Here is our roadmap for the journey. We'll be moving from the grand, colossal exterior all the way down to the hidden, microscopic engineering details that keep it standing. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the big picture and the really incredible legacy behind the structure. Ordered by Sultan Selim II, this wasn't just built on a whim. It was specifically placed in Edirne. This was a city of immense military and strategic importance to the Ottoman Empire, not to mention a place the Sultan himself absolutely loved. And think about this timeline for a second. They broke ground in 1568, and amazingly, this gigantic classical Ottoman structure was fully completed by 1575. That is just 7 years. Fast forward a few centuries to 2011, and its unparalleled historical and architectural value rightfully earned it a spot on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Now, you don't pull off a project this massive in just 7 years all by yourself, right? Sinan relied on an absolute dream team. You had project manager Mehmet Bey overseeing the massive logistics, and legendary artists like Hassan Chalabi crafting the stunning calligraphy. They also brought in the finest master stonemasons from the Mediterranean and highly skilled tile makers from Iznik to pull the whole thing together. Moving on to the sheer, colossal scale of the exterior. The moment you walk up to the Selimiye Mosque, the very first things that grab your attention are that awe-inspiring dome and those towering minarets that just completely dominate the skyline. Here's where things get really competitive. Sinan specifically engineered this uninterrupted, massive dome to rival and essentially surpass the legendary dome of Hagia Sophia in Istanbul. Reaching a diameter of roughly 31.30 meters, Sinan achieved a lifelong ambition, creating a single, unbroken canopy that challenged the greatest architectural feats in history. Towering 42.25 meters high from the ground, the sheer volume of space beneath this dome is staggering. To hold up that immense weight, Sinan didn't just build thick, vision-blocking walls. Instead, he supported the dome with 8 giant octagonal elephant columns. This creates an incredibly spacious, seamless interior where the whole congregation feels completely unified. But how do you actually put a round dome on top of an octagonal base? Well, you use architectural transition elements called tromps, or squinches. Sinan used these to completely avoid clunky, heavy, stepped transitions. Instead, these elegant elements seamlessly distribute that colossal weight down to the columns, making the dome look like it's almost floating. Which brings us to one of my favorite architectural puzzles. How do 3 different muezzins climb an 85-meter minaret at the exact same time without ever seeing each other? These 4 majestic minarets each feature 3 balconies, totaling 12 across the complex, and they're easily among the tallest and most elegant in the world. The answer? Absolute engineering genius. 3 completely intertwined staircases. Inside the 2 front minarets facing the courtyard, Sinan designed 3 separate, non-intersecting spiral stairways wrapping around each other inside a single slender tower. It's a stunning feat of geometry that still blows the minds of architects today. All right, let's step across the threshold now and see what's going on beyond just the mosque itself, moving from the outer courtyards right into the sacred interior. You see, the Selimiye isn't just a solitary building. It's a sprawling educational and civic ecosystem called a kuliye. It includes the Darul Hadith for studying traditions, the Darul Qurra for Quran recitation, a primary school, a timekeeping room for astronomical calculations, and an arasta, or covered bazaar, added later to generate income. It was literally the bustling heart of the community. Before you even step into the main prayer hall, you pass through the inner courtyard. It's this beautiful, serene space entirely paved with marble and framed by elegant porticos. Right in the center sits a finely carved ablution fountain with intricate latticework that just sets a perfect, tranquil mood before you head inside. Let's zoom way in now to uncover the intimate human-scale details and the local folklore that is quite literally carved into the stone. Right in the exact center of the mosque, beneath that massive dome, sits a raised wooden platform called the Muzin Mafili. It perfectly balances the acoustics of the room. But on one of its marble legs sits a super quirky detail. What exactly is the secret meaning behind the terse lolly, or inverted tulip, carved right there in the center? I absolutely love this story because it perfectly captures how local folklore intertwines with grand architecture. Legend has it the land originally belonged to an incredibly stubborn person with a prized tulip garden. After repeatedly refusing to yield the land, they finally gave in. The tulip represents their beautiful garden, and the fact that it's upside down, that symbolizes their stubbornness and eventual submission. It's such a fantastic human detail hidden in a grand monument. Honestly, everywhere you turn in the interior, there are masterpieces. There's the Sultan's highly decorated private lodge, then you have the mihrab, an incredibly intricate, high marble niche flanked by giant brass candlesticks. And you absolutely cannot miss the minbar, the pulpit, featuring breathtaking openwork carved out of a single massive piece of marble. Even the wooden preaching chair is a total marvel of craftsmanship. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about the vibrant colors, the artistry, and the delicate materials that crown this structure as the absolute peak of Ottoman art. Take a close look at the wooden doors and window covers. They use this mind-blowing traditional technique called kundekari. This is a highly advanced method where thousands of small, geometric wooden pieces are intricately interlocked together to form complex patterns. And get this, they're flawlessly held in place without the use of a single nail or a drop of glue. And the walls literally burst with life thanks to the finest 16th century classic Iznik tiles. The Sultan's Lodge and the main mihrab wall are completely covered with them. They're famous for their brilliant coral reds, deep navies, and vibrant turquoises, depicting gorgeous natural motifs like blossoming apple and plum trees. It basically brings a vibrant spring garden right inside the sacred space. Now look up. The massive dome and arches are brought to life by Kalem Ishi. These beautiful original painted pigment decorations featuring rich botanical and geometric designs. Woven right into this is the breathtaking calligraphy by master calligrapher Hassan Chalebi, mapping out sacred verses, including the majestic Ikhlas Surah, crowning the very center of the dome. For our final stop, we're pulling back the curtain on the invisible stuff, the hidden engineering genius that keeps this towering masterpiece standing strong and sounding utterly perfect nearly 500 years later. Because Sinan wasn't just an artist, right? He was an absolute master of static and acoustic engineering. To make it survive earthquakes, he utilized a deep foundation mat and secured the massive stones together with flexible lead joints. For perfect acoustics, he actually hid hundreds of empty clay pots inside the dome and walls to trap and project sound flawlessly. He created a beautiful light wash by piercing the drum with hundreds of windows. And get this, he calculated every single distance and space using the mathematical golden ratio. It's simply staggering to think about. And it leaves you with this final, really provocative thought. If an 80-year-old architect way back in 1575 could flawlessly merge high art, the mathematical golden ratio, seismic engineering, and acoustic physics using just stone, wood, and clay, what unseen marvels are we failing to build today? What boundaries of genius are we yet to push in our own time? Take a moment to think about that. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer of Mimar Sinan's phenomenal Selimiye Mosque, and keep exploring.